Welcome, you're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. The current share of the IT industry in the economy of Ukraine makes up for 4% of the country's GDP. It's 150,000 highly paid employees that shape the middle class. This is according to the Ministry of Trade and Economic Development of Ukraine. So what makes Ukraine's IT sector trendy worldwide? To discuss this, we're joined in the studio today by Ihor Samokhodsky. He's an IT expert of IT and Telecom sector at BRDO office. Hello, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
So I've just mentioned that the IT industry makes up for 4% of Ukrainian GDP. How big is this number comparing to the framework of the whole economy of the country?
So this number is quite big, and it's one of the biggest export sectors in Ukraine. So, and what is even more important, that this number is constantly growing, and we are sure that in next 3 years the sector will double. And therefore, it's very important that it's big. It's rather big now, but it will increase its scale in the future years, and we are sure in that.
Are there all the necessary conditions and prerequisites created in Ukraine for the IT experts and the workers of IT industry to feel comfortable enough to stay working here in Ukraine? Because usually, and for now, the situation is the following, that IT specialists are draining from Ukraine.
Well, so first of all, I'd like to look at this from two perspectives. The first perspective is business perspective, and business and companies need two factors. The first is lower taxation, and the second is employees, because the bottleneck of the IT industry is professional developers. And this, in Ukraine, we have a great taxation model for IT business, and at the moment we have enough developers, but maybe in 3 or 5 years we'll face some difficulties with that. And when we speak about the programmers...
I'm sorry, what needs to be done so we do not expect difficulties?
So basically we consider that the major issues lies in the sphere of education. And first of all, we have a decrease in population in Ukraine, and that will touch every industry we have, and the IT industry isn't an exception. And the second point is that students are leaving to obtain education in other countries, and that is the trouble. So our universities should increase their capacity in terms of quality of education and quantity of students, of graduates.
Where should we get knowledgeable enough teachers to teach our students be knowledgeable enough about IT industry works?
We, as you mentioned, we have a lot of specialists in IT industry, more than 160,000 software developers at the moment, and they can be involved in the educational process. So basically the issue is not where should we take the people, but how can we attract them in terms of financial remuneration? Because the salaries in universities are very low, and people who are skilled, they would prefer to be involved into some business activities rather than educational ones.
Speaking of business activities and developers, it is a well-known fact that 70% of music worldwide is basically created using the technology developed by Ukrainian IT specialists, like music to movies that are known around the globe, like The Hobbit, what else? Deadpool 2, Game of Thrones, and others. Are there any other peculiarities that Ukrainian specialists are known for?
Yeah, of course. What you mentioned is an example of technology which was created by Ukrainian developers. And if we come to, for example, Boeing, Siemens, Samsung, BMW, so all these companies use our local service providers to develop their services. And for example, the next big thing...
Are we getting revenues? Are we getting revenues for that?
Yeah, of course, we are getting. Good. But I wanted to emphasize that, for example, autopilots in the upcoming models of the German auto producers will be developed by Ukrainian teams.
That's a big step forward. So for now, the statistics shows that we have around 200,000 IT workers in Ukraine. Now, for a 38 million population country, is that enough?
Well, it's difficult to say enough or not because there is not such a measure. But we have a big potential because we can increase it twice or a third times in the next years. So we can't say is it enough or not, but we have a potential and we really can use it in the next years.
Okay, since the IT industry is booming in Ukraine, that means that cyber threats are also becoming a bigger deal with the process of the IT industry growing. So how do we protect ourselves from that?
Well, I'd say that first of all, our IT industry isn't working for Ukrainian companies mostly, so the major part of our services are exported. So we are a part of a global world, and I wouldn't emphasize that Ukraine is somehow a separate in terms of IT industry. But what you said, of course, cybersecurity risks are very crucial for any country and for any business, and we have great examples of world-known companies and startups in cybersecurity sphere. For example, Hacking is one of such companies who get the investments through ICO process, and they are now developing a special worldwide service for cybersecurity.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that Ukrainian IT specialists are contributing to the development of the IT industry worldwide as much as they're contributing to working on cybersecurity worldwide?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well,
that goes together.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming here and clarifying the whole situation. That was Ihor Samokhodsky. He's an IT expert of IT and telecom sector at BRDO office. Thank you so much for watching UATV. Stay tuned for more.